This episode is brought to you by Airlink, high-speed internet technology that you deserve.
Let's get it going. So, Chuck and Lou Thompson, thank you so much for joining me. Folks, they did not know I even had a podcast, so this is great. This is just us talking. And this episode will come out a couple of days after Valentine's Day, right? Monday is the 16th. Yep. So, yeah. But anyway, so I just want to talk to you guys. But two, I was on the hunt for couples who have been together for a long time, so I could at least show the people that marriages can last a long time and just be able to tell your guys' story. But I'm excited to have you guys on. Thank you.
Well, it's comfortable being here.
Yeah, good. So I don't know where to start, but I can probably just toss the ball up and at least you guys can start spitballing there. But tell me about where you guys grew up individually, where you guys first met. Go ahead and just start me there.
Well, Lou, you're the local. Why don't we start with
Okay.
you? You're from Missouri.
All right. I grew up in Northeast Missouri in Canton.
Canton.
My dad was a building contractor. My mom did the books for the company, and they worked really hard and ended up with a very nice, successful business. I went to school there. Had graduating class of 36, and
Wow.
there was only about 5 or 6 people that came and went over the years. It was the same group of people all the way through.
Mm.
We did not have kindergarten for the people that lived in the country, like me. I grew up on my granddad's farm. After graduating from high school, I went to the University of Missouri for 2.5 years with a different major every semester. And I spent more time in the student union learning to play bridge than I did in going to class. And I eventually just dropped out and worked at General Telephone as a long distance operator. Then I worked as a waitress at a Mexican restaurant. And then I went home and went back to school at Culver Stockton for 1 year and ended up very dissatisfied with 2 different majors in that 1 year.
Can you walk me through all the different majors you
Oh,
entertained at one point?
It's probably easier to tell you what I didn't major in. I was not a med student. I was not in forestry or ag.
Well, like, were you in
But,
education? Was that one
no,
of them?
I started off in speech and drama,
Okay.
and I went to history. Let's see, what else? And I didn't get into
Nursing. Don't forget
nursing. I did all sorts of stuff. It's ridiculous. But I ended up didn't get my education in education until after we were married,
Gotcha.
and went to a third college. And
Where'd you go? Where was the third one?
Miami of Ohio,
Okay. Yeah.
and graduated
I
there.
don't mean this question offensively. Can you tell me how much college costs back then?
This is terrible. I can't tell you for sure because mom and dad paid for it.
Okay.
They
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean,
uh,
that they could afford to do that too.
yeah, they 5 kids, and that was their goal, to get us all educated, and they paid for our college.
Wow.
And so we've done that for our son,
Yeah.
and are putting away for our grandson.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
but anyway, I ended up, after 2 semesters at Culver Stockton, I joined the Navy because I knew I couldn't just keep changing majors, not knowing what direction I had in life.
Yeah.
Also, there was a couple young guys that I knew in Canton that had died in Vietnam. And my brothers had really terrible draft numbers, and I knew as soon as they lost their student deferments that they would probably be going in to the service. And I thought, I need to do something.
Hmm.
And so I just joined the Navy. I picked the Navy because that's what Dad was in World War II. And when I was in the Navy, boot camp, I believe it was 10 weeks for women. And in our 7th week, we had a whole battery of tests, and then they got you got to choose, or they told you what you would be able to um, go on into and what rate you would have. And so I took this test, and fortunately, I did very well, and I got to choose what I wanted to do.
Mm.
And I was thinking of air traffic control because it sounded romantic. And I also thought of photography. And we were able to call home, and I talked to my dad. He always called me Bo. And he said, "Well, Bo, you can't kill anybody with a camera." And so I went into photography and was stationed at Pensacola, Florida. And that's where I met Chuck.
Okay.
So,
All
Chuck,
right.
you tell your
Yeah. So
backstory.
you're not a Missouri boy. I don't think I knew that.
No, I didn't get to go through school throughout my life all the way through like Lou did, from kindergarten through 12th grade. I was an Air Force brat. My dad was career Air Force, and we moved about every 3 years or so. Although there were times we got to stay longer. Um, we started out. My dad was called back into the service. He served during World War II, and then he was called back in 1950 with the Korean War, and we were stationed at Maxwell Air Force Base. I remember as a 2-year-old with my mom flying into Montgomery, Alabama. That's my first memories of actually being in a plane as a 2-year-old and being enthralled looking out the window at all the landscape,
Hmm.
especially as we were coming into land. And so we lived at Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery uh, for about 3 or 4 years. And my father made the decision. He was given the choice. They were starting a new academy for the Air Force and starting the Air Force Academy. So they chose him to be on the first faculty at the Air Force Academy because he was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, but he also had just gotten his PhD in English. So we moved from there in 1954 to Denver, Colorado at the temporary site. And for the first time, got to see snow and got a parka and heavy clothes. It was really an interesting thing to me at the time.
Yeah.
So I started first grade there, and we lived in Denver for 4 years. And then we moved to the permanent site at the Air Force Academy outside Colorado Springs. Wonderful place to grow up. Real family oriented, lots of good friends, real good time there. And then from there, my father was picked to be the American advisor to the Korean Air Force Academy. So we moved to Seoul, Korea for 2 years. And that was an adventure. That was a wonderful experience.
Hmm.
Came back from after that 2 years, came back to Montgomery, Alabama, went to school, junior high, and a year of high school in Montgomery. And then from there, my final 2 years were in Fairborn, Ohio, near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And graduated from Fairborn High School. And then, not knowing what I wanted to really do, I just enlisted in the Navy. And I picked an area that I really was interested in. Growing up as a kid, especially near Colorado Springs, my friends and I were always building tree houses, forts. We went through scrap wood like you wouldn't believe that we could find. So going into the Navy, it was really easy for me to pick going into the Navy's construction battalions, the Seabees. And that's what I chose. My first choice was to be a builder, was one of the rates in the Navy. And I got that. And not only did I get that, they sent me to builder school out of boot camp in Davisville, Rhode Island. And that was really good school. Went through a lot of that, but we knew, all of us going through Seabees knew where we were going to be headed after schooling, and that would be Vietnam. That's Seabee country.
Hmm.
So I spent a year and a week in Da Nang, outside Da Nang, and as a builder, and pouring concrete, even underwater concrete for LST ramps.
This episode is brought to you by Airlink. Airlink. Since 2011, Airlink Broadband of Salisbury has been powering homes and businesses around here with fast and dependable internet. The goal of Airlink here is to bring you and our communities the kind of internet service that makes your life easier, smoother, and makes your life more enjoyable. Curious if Airlink is available to you? Head on over to getairlink.com. That's get like, go on, getairlink.com. Or head over to the Airlink Facebook page that we'll link below. Airlink Broadband, great quality, local service, future facing. Let them prove it to you today.
Got to experience all kinds of things. And then my last 3 months there, they put me in charge. I got a promotion, and they put me in charge of Vietnamese self-help crews to teach Vietnamese civilians building trades, and at the same time putting us to work improving the environment there that was pretty war-torn. And we repaired a lot of buildings, did a lot of things for the Vietnamese communities. And in working with these Vietnamese, this crew I had was about a dozen Vietnamese civilians, and from age about 16 to about 80. Had a wide range of guys that I worked with. I didn't speak much Vietnamese, but I could communicate with them with blueprints and showing them things. And that's what kind of led me, after the Navy, deciding, what am I going to major in? What do I want to do? Teaching people to work construction and build. And that's why I majored in industrial arts and ended up, after my 4 years in the Navy, taking the GI Bill and going back to college, and picked Miami University in Ohio. I graduated from high school in Ohio, and I could get residency. So it was between Bowling Green and Miami. And I ended up going to Miami, had a nice visit there.
Did you know it was Miami, Ohio, and not Miami, Florida?
Exactly.
Nobody sold you
No.
the wrong bill on that
No.
one.
I knew all about it from high school days. I knew all about Miami at Ohio. But the joke is on campus that Miami was a university before Florida was even a state. So we're way ahead of the other Miami.
That's right. That's right.
So
Just a few less beaches, but
But
you know,
Sure.
Chuck,
yeah.
you left out the most important part.
I skipped over a lot of
Yes.
stuff.
You forgot to tell him where you met me.
Yeah, I need to tell you. See, my last duty station in the Navy was, I went from Argentia, Newfoundland to Pensacola, Florida, which was quite a long drive, but I drove it. Went to Pensacola, and I was put in charge of remodeling the wave barracks. Of course, waves are the women Navy personnel.
Right.
And while I was helping remodel and dropping ceilings and painting, putting up trim, I was around all these nice, cute gals that were busy all around the place. And Lou in particular was outgoing and vivacious.
Oh my.
She had a name like Vivian, and it fit her to a T. And I got to know her a little bit, invited her out several times to dinner or to a date, and she was always turning me down.
Well, there was a reason.
Yeah, let's hear it.
He would ask me 2 hours before he wanted to go out on a date.
Oh, come
You
on,
know,
it wasn't.
I mean, I was on a base full of these good-looking men too, Chuck. And I had a few options of who I could go
never
out with.
thought of that.
So anyway, he one time he asked me out. He and his roommate they had an apartment and they were going to have a party. And he says, "I'd like for you to come to this party that we're having." I think it was that night. And I said, "Well, I might be able to do that." And then he proceeded to give me directions on how to get there. And I go, "That's not a date." So I didn't go.
Look at you holding the standard. Okay,
Yeah.
so what was your first date then?
Well, Chuck, I had gone home to Canton
Oh,
and
yeah,
picked
to
up
get
my
the
car.
car.
He had
Yeah.
a 62 Land Rover. I
Mm.
had a
Do you
69.
still have it?
I had it for 51 years. It was
Oh,
my
Yeah.
favorite old car. It
Yeah.
was
where did it
great
go?
off-road. Pardon me?
Where did it go?
2 years ago, I was saving it for my son, who really wanted it too,
Mhm.
but we talked a bit, and it didn't meet a lot of modern day safety standards.
Yeah.
So we put it up for auction with a company, and it went up for auction over a period of about 2 weeks, all over the country and
Yeah.
even outside the U.S.
Mhm.
And eventually, I was shocked to find out on the last day, um, we sold it for what I'd call a king's ransom. I
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it to
Yeah.
get that much.
If you would not have told me that, I would have started crying, going, "Where was I 2
Yeah.
years ago?"
Well, miss it. It was a fun vehicle.
That's so
I did a
cool.
lot of work on it. I
Yeah.
did a frame over job on it. It was just a good, fun old. The British just designed a beautifully made vehicle, so simplistic and easy to work on.
Yeah.
So,
But
Well, anyway,
I,
how do we get there?
well, I don't
Hold
know.
on.
I
First
went
date.
I went
oh,
home to
going
get
back
my
Oh,
car.
to get your
Super
car.
Bee.
Yes, to
Yeah.
my and I, unlike him with his 62 Land Rover, I had a 1969 Dodge Super Bee, and it was red and
which
black,
was
and it
the
was
exact
beautiful.
opposite.
I know. And it's kind of funny because your background with moving around so much and being involved with the military and me on one little farm and little town, we were opposites that way, but in other ways, much alike. But my Dodge Super Bee, I was pulling it into parking it behind the Wave Barracks one day, and Chuck happened to be coming out, and he came over to the window and he said, "Would you like to attend the military ball with me, the CB ball that they had?" And that was in February, and he asked me this in December. So he
Was
gave
that
me
enough
I was
time?
learning.
yes.
I was
So
learning.
so he finally got the picture, and and um, and I said yes, and he just kind of stammered, and he goes, "Well, I'll get back with you," and
Do you remember this, Chuck?
Oh, yeah.
Is that
That's,
how it went down?
that's pretty
Okay.
close.
All
yeah.
right.
That's real
And so
close.
then he called me or saw me at the barracks or something, and arranged for a couple other dates before the military ball.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I got to run into you quite a bit
yeah,
in working there.
we had a joke because the school, the photography A school that I was supposed to go to, and I did go to, but I had 6 weeks of what they call barracks division, where I'm cleaning up the barracks. Well, he's making a mess in the barracks with his
Every
construction
day.
crew.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and I'm cleaning it up. And so we've just kind of teased over the years that I got used to cleaning up his messes and just made a lifetime career of it.
True.
So, but that was our first date, the military ball. I mean, not our first date, but that was the first time I
First big
said
of
yes.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Kind of when would you say your relationship was starting?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't date anyone
exactly.
else after that. Just
We
that was,
went on dates. Do you remember a date we went on after that? I took the top off the Land Rover, so I had a convertible
Oh
now.
my
it
gosh.
was my birthday. That
Yeah,
was
that's right. And I took Lou out in Pensacola, out on the beach area, to a real popular, expensive restaurant called the Shark's Head Inn.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun there. You remember what we ordered?
We had oysters, and I had never had oysters before.
Oysters on the half shell.
And then we had shrimp.
And she asks me, as we're eating these oysters on the half shell, she asked me, "Well, how are these cooked?" And I had to explain to her tactfully, "Well, they're not cooked, they're just raw." And I think I got to eat the rest of them,
Yeah.
which was fine, but it was
Yeah.
fun.
But coming back that night, it started raining, and he had the top off the Land Rover, and we had to drive across that, what, 3-mile bridge
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
and just soaking wet.
Yeah, we both got soaking wet.
So this wasn't where the top like stayed with you and you could just
No.
throw
No,
it
this
back
was a hard
Hard
top,
shell.
and I took it completely off. And it wasn't supposed to rain.
Yeah.
It didn't look like it was going to rain. But we got soaking wet going back to the Pensacola base.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But only about 3 weeks after that was when we got married.
Really?
3
Went back to
weeks?
Canton. Yeah, about that, because that
Oh,
was my
okay.
birthday.
Yeah, yeah. Give me the timeline here of first date to
Our first date
marriage.
actually probably came the end of December, first part of January.
okay.
Mhm.
And we got married in June.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
Did you guys
Well-
get engaged? Or was it just
You know, he asked me
yeah.
over the phone when I was home at Easter with my mom
in
and
April?
dad.
Okay,
Yeah.
got
He
it.
said, "Think we
Yeah.
ought to get married?" Yeah, let's do that.
So was there not as much fanfare around engagement at that time? Or were
I
you
don't
guys just kind of
know.
like, well, it's time to do this now?
Well, we just, I don't know. There's a lot of fanfare for a lot of people, not for us.
Yeah,
It
just
wasn't that
it
important.
was
I mean,
Good for
kind
you.
of private and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And I'm trying to think, there was something else. We went ring shopping. Do you remember doing that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Mm,
I remember that little store in Pensacola,
yeah.
and
What day were we married?
June 12th.
Oh, okay. She
Oh.
remembered.
And
Okay.
that's
God.
coming up this coming June. It'll be 55 years.
Wow.
That's right.
I should have made
Wait
we
a
should have made him say what year it was gonna be
Yeah.
before you said it.
Yeah.
Actually, he's better with dates than I am on stuff like that.
Yeah.
Numbers, I'm good with figuring things out, but remembering numbers and dates, and history, all that.
Mm. So I'm pretty good on dates, huh?
Yeah, you
Nice.
good.
June 13th was almost our anniversary, but we got married in COVID. And and we lived in Minnesota at the time. And so you couldn't have like more than one friend, period, for a while. So we had to move our our
Yeah.
wedding and got married in July. But it was almost June 13th, I think is what we were gonna be. So but a great time to get
So
married.
you
Where did
were
you
up
get
in Minnesota.
Yeah.
You know, believe it or not, when Lou and I graduated from Miami or getting ready to graduate,
Mhm.
we were looking for teaching positions. Where do we want to go to teach? And our first choice was Minnesota. So
Why?
we drove up to Minnesota during a break, and
In the
Drew-
summer, I assume?
this was late spring, probably May, June,
Okay.
Uh-huh.
and the weather was decent.
Mhm.
And we traveled all over the southern half of Minnesota. I don't think we got up too far north, but we went to Sleepy Eye. And
Did you go to the Twin Cities though?
Winona,
We went through them.
just
Okay.
some of the suburbs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Drove
And
through.
we stopped and interviewed at several school districts, but there were no openings.
Hmm.
They wouldn't have us.
Okay, take me back to that time. You guys are just driving around
Mm-hmm.
and you'll just walk into a school
That's what we did. That's what we did here.
Yeah.
and say, I'm here for an interview.
Yeah.
And they'll go,
Well, asking
let's-
if there are teaching positions
sure,
open.
right.
And they were real nice. Everybody was nice to us, but unlike today, where they're just screaming for teachers,
Yeah,
back then the positions were filled.
yeah.
This was, yeah. But Chuck and I, after we finished, I got to tell you this one, though. This is kind of funny. When we got married
Mhm.
in June, he left in September to go to Miami of Ohio at first part of September.
Yeah.
And he lived our first year of marriage. We were together from June until September, and then he lived in a dorm with two guys
Wow.
for that
Yeah.
for that first year.
Hmm.
And then he came home twice, and I went up to see you once.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
right.
and that's all we saw of each other
Hmm.
that year.
Who
And
was
then
that more challenging on? Or was that even challenging?
he
Yeah,
was having a
yeah.
blast.
I had two good roommates, but I did miss Lou a lot. I had
Yeah.
a real nice picture of her on my desk, and I got
Yeah.
teased about it a lot from
Yeah, were you
roommates
like
and
one of the
others.
only married men at that point?
Yeah,
in the
I'm
dorm?
Living in
sure.
a
Yeah.
dorm with
Yeah.
two guys. I'm sure he was the only one.
I mean, I don't know how common, but yeah.
But then he came home the following summer, and then that following fall he went back to college, but got an apartment for us, and I was able to join him just before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
and
Nice.
was through with the service then.
Okay.
And then I wanted to go to Miami too. And we went in there and they weren't going to give me residency because of, I grew up in Missouri. I did not grow up in Ohio.
But you had a permanent address now, technically, right?
But you
Yeah.
had to, but they wouldn't, it was like, it didn't fulfill their
Yeah.
description of what an in-state and an out-of-state residency. And I thought,
Mhm.
oh God, I'll never be able to afford this. I had GI Bill, but it wasn't going to be enough.
Mhm.
And we got a special, I don't know, an interview with some guy. I don't know what he was.
Yeah, one of the deans, a real
Yeah.
nice guy.
And he told me, I'm sorry, you'll have to, you can attend. We'd like for you to attend, but you'll have to pay the regular. And for some reason, when I get nervous or I get upset, I just it just, the tears just, I just started bawling
Oh.
and I couldn't control myself. And the guy, he's got all nervous. You'll have to explain what he did.
Well, the look on his face, he was just so shocked and surprised. And he did a little shuffling and looking around, and then finding out that Lou was a veteran and had served in the
Well,
service.
he already knew that,
Yeah, he found some little legal loophole. Well, you're now an Ohio citizen. Come to Miami.
She was the first person to cry about not being able to be an Ohio citizen.
Well,
So
you know what? As she started taking classes and getting into education, her grades were superior, and it wasn't long before she was on the president's list, and she got an Ohio grant where they ended up paying for everything, didn't they?
yeah, they did.
So
And
Mm.
so this was kind of
that
cool. We made more money as students than we did as teachers. As
we were
at
both on GI
yeah,
Bill,
yeah.
and we were real good at saving money. We
And I was able
saved and
to claim him as a dependent. He was able to claim me as a dependent. And we kept asking the guys at the uh, military, for the GI Bill, we can't do that. That's not right. And they go, oh yeah, it is, because you could just wait until he finished, or he could wait until you finished. So just so they paid for everything
Wow.
basically. And then, like you said, I got the Ohio grant because I had a 4 point, and they let me. They paid my tuition,
Mm.
and it was already getting anyhow. And then Chuck's dad was paying for his.
he paid for my tuition.
Yeah.
So we ended up banking money
That's
while
awesome.
we were in college, enough that we were able to put down our down payment on our farm
Hmm.
when we moved here.
Yeah, so tell me where you guys start to settle in from. We're in Pensacola, Miami.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we were all over the place,
Vietnam,
weren't we?
yeah. Tell me when your marriage starts to settle in, what
Well,
happens next?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was lucky. As a freshman in Miami, I was 4 years older than other freshmen. I'd already served in the service with experience in some construction. So during the summers, they gave me a job working for the maintenance department at the university, and they put me in the builder shop with all these older gentlemen, very experienced woodworkers. I mean, they were really impressive guys. And one of them, um, what was his name?
Ed Ross.
Yes, Ed Ross.
Yeah, I can.
Real nut. Here I was, 22 years old, and he was probably in his 60s, maybe pushing 70, very experienced. But it turned out he had a real nice 2-story old house that he wanted to rent. So he became our landlord
Hmm.
and was a wonderful guy. He and his wife treated us really well. And we were just a few blocks from campus. We rode bikes every day to class or walked. And what was even funnier, when we did get jobs here in Fayette, he was such a neat landlord. He had retired about the time I graduated from college. And he and his wife actually drove out here in their mobile home. He brought his toolboxes, and he helped us fix up this house that we had bought out in the country,
Wow.
and stayed with us.
He did some of the
So
woodworking.
You
yeah,
go straight from Miami to Fayette.
yeah.
Like I
How?
said, my parents were in Northeast Missouri.
Right.
Okay. So we had decided, we had thought that we would settle in Colorado, which would be halfway between Missouri and California, where his
Where
family
your
was.
family is. Okay.
And the more we thought about it, is like, well, we will never see anybody. So Chuck had never had brothers, and I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. He has 1 sister. And he had gotten to know my brothers a little bit and got real close with them. And it was just kind of like, and then we knew we wanted to be close to be able to get master's degrees and stuff like that. So we thought, well, let's just move to Missouri, close to the university. We didn't want to live in Columbia. We wanted a
Okay.
smaller town. So we just looked on the map, picked out a few little places. We saw Ashland and Madison and Fayette.
Oh, wait a minute. Remember, we got this real nice slip of paper from Truman State. Actually, it was Northeast Missouri State at
That's
the
right.
time.
Yep.
And it had all these listings of
Oh, yes,
open
that's true.
teaching positions.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked down through this list, a whole page full of towns that were looking for teachers in different areas. And we just highlighted about a half dozen of them in central Missouri.
But Fayette wasn't on the list.
Fayette wasn't on the list.
So anyhow, we had interviewed up at Madison, and they were willing to give us him right away, and they would find me a job in Holiday. And then we had time to kill before our interview that was set up for Ashland. And so we're just driving, we just looked at the map and said, well, there's a little town over there. Let's check it out. And it was the best story. We drove into Fayette, ate our lunch at Dairy Queen, looked down and saw the school. And we said, well, let's just go down there and see if there's anything available. We walked down there to the where the Clark Middle School area is. And there was a gentleman coming out the door in overalls, and he said, can I help you? And we said, well, we're looking for teaching positions, want to know if you have anything available. And he looked at us, he said, well, what areas? And Chuck said, industrial technology. And I said, elementary. And he says, well, just a minute, come on in. And we thought he said, he took us into the superintendent's office, and then he proceeded to sit down in the chair.
We thought we were talking to the janitor,
Yeah, right.
leaving
With the
for his
overalls.
lunch.
Yeah, sure.
And it was Bill Clark. And I got the biggest kick out of that because he dials up the phone. He was on his way home for lunch. He dials up the phone, and I can still hear his voice. He goes, honey, hold the beans.
Yeah, exactly. He was the nicest guy.
Yeah.
And we didn't know it, but in talking to him, we were being interviewed.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, he was taking me up to the high school to show me what the shop would look like. And we came back to his office, and he was talking to Lou about.
He had just filled the last elementary position the week before. But he said, do you happen to have an interest in chapter 1, like remedial reading? And I said, well, yeah, I did 1 semester in graduate work in that at Miami, waiting for him to graduate. And I said, I'd like to really work with the reading. He said, well, I think I can get you temporarily certified. And he did.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then we left him, went down to Ashland.
Yeah, as we were leaving to go to our next interview down in Ashland, he looked at us and said, please don't sign anything until you hear back from me. And we said, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, we didn't have cell phones back then. So we gave him my mother's home phone numbers. He called us at Canton.
Wow.
Yeah. So we went down to Ashland and talked to them. They offered us a job. But we really liked this superintendent that we had met in Fayette. And cost-wise, what they had offered us was
It was about the
great.
same.
Oh, and the other thing that Bill Clark had offered, he said, would you be interested in helping coach middle school football? And I said, well, sure. They gave me an extra $200 to do that. I was thrilled. I'd get to teach and also in the afternoons help coach football.
Yeah.
So our decision as we were driving back to Canton was being made. We said, "No, let's check into this Fayette job."
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
So
the
we,
rest is history.
yes,
Yeah,
we've been here ever since.
Hmm.
that's right. We were really impressed with Bill Clark. He was a really, really neat superintendent.
Yeah.
Very wise, knew all
It's
the ins and outs of things. Found out later he was also a girls' basketball coach,
Okay.
superintendent
Is this
coaching
Clark
basketball.
like Clark Middle School Clark? Is
Yeah.
that
yes, it
him?
No,
is.
here's the thing. It
Wow.
wasn't known as Clark Middle School then.
Okay.
It was just known as Fayette Middle School.
Hmm.
And it wasn't a year after we'd been teaching here. He was only superintendent for another one,
One
maybe
or
2
2
years,
years.
Hmm.
and then he retired. And during his retirement party, it came out that the school board had decided to name the middle school after Bill Clark,
Wow.
Clark Middle School.
So he had quite the legacy then.
Yeah, he
Oh
did.
yeah, he'd been
I
there
mean,
quite a while.
just the way he picks two strangers off the street and says, "Let me show you everything, and
Yeah.
please come back." You know.
Yeah.
He was a really neat guy. Even while I was teaching and talking to him, he was very interested in keeping an industrial arts program going,
Yeah.
and I would need to get this fixed, or I needed some money for this. He'd find places to help out and get money for various things. So
Yeah. Is there still industrial arts now? I didn't think there
when I
was.
retired,
Yeah.
That was
I
it.
uh,
Mhm.
tried to. I was doing some graduate work at Warrensburg
Mhm.
at Central Missouri State, and I thought we'd get one of their graduates to come teach, but that never came about. So
Yeah.
I was the last industrial arts teacher. Sadly, I wish we still had the program there.
Hmm.
Well, after I taught 1 year at Fayette teaching the Chapter 1 reading, I went back to the University of Missouri and finished up my master's degree in diagnostic education and curriculum instruction, and came back to Fayette and taught 4 years. Did the learning disabled classes
Hmm.
for 4 more years, and then I quit teaching for a while and ran a paint and decorating center here, Benjamin Moore and all that stuff. We started that up. Started off gallery arts.
On the north side of the
Yeah,
square.
I opened up
Hmm.
a little art and frame shop.
I remember
Really?
fixing
Yeah.
that shop
Where?
up. Yeah.
Where on the
Well,
square?
it's where they have the esports, or where they
Oh,
did.
Yeah.
That
it would
that
be on the
building fell
west end
down.
of that.
Or,
okay.
you know,
Yeah.
it was torn down, but it was.
Hmm.
But anyhow, it's kind of a long story. I won't get into all the
And then
craziness.
from
And
there to the Benjamin Moore.
yeah, then we bought the paint store, which was
Hmm.
over there where Frank Flashpuller's office is now.
Yeah.
And then there was reasons that I needed to just kind of get out of that. And a friend over in Columbia needed someone to fill in for her for maternity leave, and she wanted to know if, oh, Lou, if you would maybe interview for this position, maybe that would really help me. So I did, and so I taught a few months at Grant Elementary,
Mm-hmm.
and then I came back, and I was also teaching up here at Central. I had a couple classes
Oh,
each
that's right.
semester.
In education
Mhm.
department. Yeah.
And then it ended up that I got a phone call from a gal that was the principal at Blue Ridge Elementary, and they had 6 more weeks of school. And she said, I got your name from the principal at Grant that you might be able to help us here. And I said, well, tell me about the position. And she said, if I tell you, you won't take it. And I said, well, I'll come over and we'll talk.
Yeah. I remember this
Yeah,
well.
I mean, that's exactly what she told me. The teacher that had that class developed ulcers and had to leave the school year.
Now, this was a first grade class.
This was a first grade class.
Hmm.
People don't believe, but it was awful. And they hired another gal to come in and finish out. She lasted 1 week and she quit. They hired another lady. She lasted less than a week and walked out. and said that she would never step foot in that school again. So they were desperate. And so I had had really good discipline over at the other school. And so I told her, I said, I'll give it a try. I'll try to see you through the year.
Well, you
And
were raised with two brothers.
yeah, I
You knew
know.
how to treat them.
Yeah, I was older than my brothers. So anyhow, it was just kind of crazy. I went in there with thinking, I do not believe in behavior modification. After 2 days, I went out and bought a big bag of jelly beans. And every time somebody did something right, it was,
All right.
oh,
Yeah.
and then I would say, oh, look what a nice job he did, and give him a jelly bean and do all this stuff. Within 2 weeks, I had the class under control.
Wow.
The teacher came in, or the principal came in, and she sat down and watched me doing a reading group, and I thought, "Oh God, I didn't know I was gonna get observed," you know? I was real nervous about it, but she said, "Oh, don't worry, I'm here to observe Randy." Well, at interview, she was seeing if she wanted to hire me for next year,
Mm.
and but
Bet
after
she did.
yeah, I did, and I was at Blue Ridge for the rest of my time in Columbia.
Wow.
But from the stories I've heard, she was quite a principal.
Oh, she
She
was.
was a little gal,
Mm.
very short in stature, but strict.
But
Yeah.
see,
Strict with the faculty and the students.
Mm.
and see, back then, it's like we wore high heels. There was no jeans. There was
No.
about once a month, you had a relaxed Friday.
Yeah.
But we dressed nice, and we wore high heels. And I can remember one time chasing a kid out the door. He
In high heels.
in high heels,
Mm.
and caught up with him, but he climbed a tree. But
Oh, okay.
we kept him there until he was having a day.
Hmm.
So
Well, if we can, for how open you guys want to be, I kind of want to talk about like your marriage and the aspects of that. Once you got settled into career and things like that, when did children become part of it? What were some like some of the things I've heard listening to both of your stories is you have gone with just about any flow that's happened, right? Like you were a photographer, but you're also cleaning up after him,
yeah.
And then we've got, I'll take this first grade reading class, I'll take this class, and you've been the Air Force brat who's always been in the building focus, Talk to me about, your marriage and your relationship, easy things, not so easy things, children, all those kind of things, as much as you want to share.
We like a lot of the same things together, though. We rented a house in Fayette our first year, but together we both really our dream was to find a little place out in the country, to own a little land and have a place in the country. So we started looking around Howard County for small farms. And we looked at several of them, saw some interesting things, and then eventually found this farm 4 miles
Yeah.
north of town.
Chris and Terry
That we really
Rolfing
liked.
they were our first friends that we
Okay,
made.
that was
Yeah.
going to be one of my
Yeah.
questions was who were
Yeah.
some of your first
Yeah,
friends?
Chris
That's
and
very
Terry
cool.
Rolfing were our
Mhm.
very first friends in Fayette. And
They had just started teaching at the same
Yes.
I was
time.
going to say educators as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was my English teacher actually
Yeah.
in high school.
Really?
For one year. She split it with another teacher, but it
Uh-huh.
was fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they had friends like Chris and the Monroe boy, Fletcher
Yeah,
Monroe, were
Fletcher.
really good friends. And Fletcher and Cindy, we got to know them. And this little piece of property that we ended up buying, uh, those 4 people introduced us to it.
Hmm.
And it was really a rundown house. And my mom and dad came down to my dad. Like I said, my dad was a building contractor, really good, really took a lot of pride in his work. And we just did a drive-by, not with a gun, but just to
Yeah,
look,
no, I'm with you.
just look,
Yeah, to show him
just
this
to look
place
at
we were
this
interested
place.
in.
Yeah.
And Dad looked at it and he said, "Well, again, Bo, it
Why
seems
did he call you that?
well, I'll tell you that in a
Okay,
minute."
all right.
He he said, "This is it's sitting square." He said, "It probably has potential." And so we went ahead and bought the place. But back to why he called me Bo, that was just a nickname I had, Bobo, when I was a little girl. I guess Mom said that I had hurt myself, and that she always gave cocoa to to us if we were injured. She'd make us a little thing of
Oh,
cocoa,
okay. Yeah.
if we
Yeah.
were crying or something. And I guess I was about 2, maybe 3, and I had an owie, and Mom said, "Well, would you like some cocoa?" And I just said, "Bobo, no want no cocoa."
Okay. And that's it.
And
That's all it
and
took.
it was just, and after that, it
Amazing
was
stuff,
Bobo.
huh?
Wow. Okay.
But so
So now here we have this nice little farm. What was it originally? 56?
yeah, 50, almost 57, 58
Yeah.
acres, something like
Yeah.
that.
And with a house that needed a lot of work. And behind all these huge horse weeds, we found it even had a barn.
You couldn't see the barn
No
from the road.
way. That's funny.
So we had a lot of work on our hands, especially that summer. We bought the farm and we decided how we were going to fix the house up. And we were pretty agreeable, and probably 2 things had to be done: get the kitchen fixed up and a bathroom.
Hmm.
So
That seems fair.
those were our priorities.
Yeah.
And we went to work on that. I liked building and getting things squared away. And
Yeah.
we
Were
bought
you
materials.
were you able to help with stuff like that
Oh,
too
yeah.
from
Oh,
your
yeah. Oh, yeah.
childhood? Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
did a lot. I did a lot of it.
Yeah,
I've
see,
always
she was
liked
a
to paint.
contractor's daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and my family helped too. They came down and bricked in the fireplace for us.
Oh, yeah.
I
They
mean,
pitched in.
Wow.
and my brothers and my mom and
After we
dad.
had been there a year,
Yeah.
we had this metal fireplace in the living room, what was then the living room. And her brothers came down, and in the course of a morning,
Yeah.
from
Wow.
7 a.m. till noon, they had a beautifully bricked up fireplace.
And my
from floor
dad
to
was
ceiling.
sitting over by where our telephone is, and he would every now and then he'd get up, go over to it, take the level out and check it, make sure it was just perfect,
Like it was
He
going to change.
supervised.
Yeah.
Well, Mike and
Well,
Mark
he just
put the brick in.
made sure that my brothers did it right.
Yeah.
So we've
But
still got this real
then-
nice.
Then
Fireplace.
10 acres that adjoined that eventually became available, and we purchased that too. So,
Yeah. Actually,
no, it's
another
30.
30.
Excuse me, it was
Yeah.
30 acres, and so it's just under 90 acres.
Yeah, from
what we
Fletcher's
have now.
farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't
We've
even,
spent the next 50 years fixing that place up. We've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We've got pathways through the woods, and
and we've added on to it twice.
yeah.
We could never afford to be able to just tear it down and build new.
Sure.
So it was just upgrade
Yeah.
as
Little
we
by
could
little.
go.
Yeah.
And in 97,
96,
Ni-
95.
95, we built a really big addition to it. And my brothers came down and put in another fireplace, this time with stone. And then in 2007, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
we added on the other side of the house,
Hmm.
always trying to make it not look like it was an add-on,
Sure. Right.
and I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
worked out really well. And they're like bookends,
The old
east
house
and
is
west
in the middle.
bookends, with the old house in the middle.
That's cool.
So
But
it worked out real well.
Yeah. When did you start? You had one child together?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
well,
We worked on that for a long time, didn't we?
a lot of problems
Hmm.
with me, but it took us 11 years. We had Chase when I was 34, and but anyhow, we have him. He's wonderful, and
And we had a wonderful doctor.
yeah, wouldn't
Dr.
have him.
Griffin.
We wouldn't have him if it wasn't for Dr. William Griffin from the university.
Hmm.
So I had a lot of surgery and stuff,
Hmm.
but eventually,
And his nurses told us that if he can't
this is crazy.
get you pregnant, no one can.
And we
So-
always thought that was funny.
That is funny.
He really helped us.
But so Chase came along, and that was just the love of our life.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh.
so. And he
Did
went.
did you want more and just the
Oh
challenge of
yeah,
it was
yeah, and I lost several along the
Hmm.
way, and we thought we were going to have um, things were going pretty good when Chase was 5, wasn't he? Yeah, he was about
Yeah.
4 or 5. I think he was 5, and I'm pregnant again, and it was about 4 months into it, I lost it.
Mhm.
So, and that was our little girl.
Yeah.
And that was it. So anyhow, you would have asked me when I was 18 how many kids I'd have. I'd
Right.
probably say, oh, half a dozen,
Hmm.
something like
Yeah.
that. But your plans aren't always what you think they're going to be.
Yeah.
What's that joke? You've got plans.
Hmm.
God's up there laughing.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I was just about to ask you about that because I thought you mentioned something about church. Have you guys been going to church forever, or what's
Oh
the
yeah,
story there?
Pretty much. Yeah.
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 So when you got to Fayette, where did you decide to go to church?
We go to St. Joseph Catholic Church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you both raised Catholic or?
I
Well,
was.
Okay.
yeah, Lou was. My mom was Presbyterian. My dad was Episcopalian.
Oh
So I
man.
went to a lot of Protestant churches.
Yeah.
Had an aunt who was Catholic. I was just raised as a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
And then I married a Catholic girl. So I took instruction while I was in college.
Miami.
Yeah, at
Wow.
Miami with a real interesting, knowledgeable priest, and became Catholic. And Lou and I have been going to Catholic services since.
Sounds.
Actually, the priest that you studied under eventually became an archbishop
Well,
of Cincinnati.
yeah, maybe so. I
So,
forget the
hmm
details of
Hmm.
that.
so it was kind of cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, faith is important to us,
Yeah.
and we're not crazy about. I don't know. We're not just silly over it, but it's
right.
important
Sure.
to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Um.
We-
So obviously, dealing with pregnancies and lost children is difficult. What were if you as willing as you're open to be, as open as you're willing to be? What were maybe if you could talk about some of the hardest parts of your marriage and maybe how you guys got through those?
I think the loss of children,
Yeah,
that was the
Yeah.
hardest.
exactly. Yeah, that was hard to deal with,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially the one we knew that was going to be a
A
girl.
girl. That's hard.
Yeah.
But I thought it was more into it. I thought you were more 5 or 6 months.
No, it was the fourth month, and I went in for a sonogram,
Hmm.
and I'll never forget that nurse. She was ugh. Dr. Griffin wasn't there that day, but she did this sonogram, and she said, "Oh, the sac has collapsed,"
Hmm.
and I had no idea what that meant at that time.
Probably doesn't. Yeah. Probably
You
didn't
know,
sound good.
no, it didn't
Oh,
sound great. And she said, "You can see Dr. Griffin next week he'll be back next week, and we'll get you right in." At that time, then we went up to Canton. Debbie and Mike, my brother,
right.
they had just had a little girl,
Hmm.
and I was just so excited, thinking that I'm going to have a child similar in age to
Yeah.
this little girl.
Yeah.
Whether we were going to have a boy or a girl, I didn't know, but it was going to be so neat. And then we went back uh, to Dr. Bill's, and he said it didn't make it, and so I had to have a DNC and do all that. So that was hard.
Yeah.
We were lucky though. We were hooked up with this wonderful uh, doctor at the
Yeah.
university who really knowledgeable, great bedside manner.
Mm-hmm.
A really actually became a pretty famous surgeon,
Yeah.
doctor, well respected. But we really liked him.
Yeah. How was your guys' relationship through all of that? What was that like?
It was, I don't know, we supported each other pretty
Yeah,
darn good. But
yeah,
I mean, you kind of pull into your shell a little.
Mm-hmm.
You as far as me, I mean, he can't know exactly what I'm feeling
Right.
as a mother that has lost this.
Yeah.
But he was always there. He's very quiet when he's emotional and sad. He gets real quiet. And so
Mm.
I don't always know what he's thinking
Mm.
on stuff like that. But it was difficult. It was difficult. And but we just decided, if it's meant to be, we'll have more. If it's not, we weren't going to go taking a bunch of pills and
Yeah.
doing any more surgery. Just
Yeah.
whatever happens, happens.
Hmm.
And I tell you, kids are a blessing.
Yeah.
And
Well, praise the Lord for Chase.
Yeah.
And what's
yes,
Chase up to now?
teaching at Stevens College
Teaching. All
and
right.
teaching photography and
Stop.
film
And
and
the important thing is
documentary
he likes what he's
science.
doing.
That's absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And has a baby. Is that right?
Yeah,
You have a grandbaby.
he's 11 years old now.
Wow.
Boy, time's going by
Graham
fast.
is just,
Yeah.
He's just shot up.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
real special.
Everybody I talk to says that being a grandparent's better than being a parent. And I can't imagine that to be true. So what is your take on that?
I don't
Well,
think
well,
it's
they say
better.
nothing's better than being a grandparent. And I, as a parent, am
Mm.
thinking, I don't know if you can beat this, but
I
what's
don't
your
know. I'm
take?
kind of neutral. I'm
Yeah, I just
both
think they're both
ways.
Yeah.
just perfect.
Boy, Chase was really easy to raise. He was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
We had a
And
great
we had
time.
a good time out on the farm. In fact, one of the things I remember was the Christmas of 1988. Chase was 6,
Mhm.
and Lou and I had gotten interested in cross-country skiing. And we thought the perfect Christmas gifts that year, that fall, would be to go down to the, what was the name of that store? Named after the highest mountain in Missouri.
Tom Saw.
Thomas
Tom
Sock.
Sock.
Yeah. Oh.
It was on Broadway. We went in there and they sold cross-country skis. And we went in there with Chase and we all got fitted. And we were telling Chase, we're just checking them out. We're just finding things out.
Mhm.
We're not buying these. But we all got skis and they had to be fitted and put bindings and things on them. And we'd come back a few weeks later and get them, take them home for Christmas.
Mhm.
Well, we did that all in secret. So when Christmas morning, we got up, skis underneath the tree. And of course, Chase was thrilled. Of course, it was at the crack of dawn, dark outside, no snow, nothing.
No. A good old Missouri Christmas.
We'd opened
Yeah.
presents, had a fun Christmas breakfast. And then right about 9 or 10 o'clock, it started really snowing. We had a nice snow. And so by noon that day, well, Chase and I were out there racing each other around the house on skis outside. And so we got broken into cross-country skiing. And then over the years, I would take our bush hog and we'd make trails throughout our woods. And we made a number of trails to go on.
Hmm.
And it was fun,
Yeah.
a good time. At the time, we also had some horses.
Yeah.
We weren't horse people at all.
Oh, we were stupid.
Yeah.
My grandpa was not super fond of horses, thought they were a lot more work than they're worth, but they're very pretty.
Yeah,
They
I love
are.
horses,
They're
but we
fun.
didn't know
But we got
anything about
broken
'em.
in with a perfect horse.
Hmm.
The Rolfings put us on a gal south of Boonville who had numerous horses that had been
They were rescue horses.
rescue
Gotcha.
horses.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we ended up getting one of them, Dynamite. He was an older horse,
Dynamite.
Art
so
Welsh
the name
pony.
didn't necessarily fit.
We
but-
always said it took dynamite to get him to move.
Right. And so we paid for Dynamite, and she turns around and throws in a saddle. So we had a horse and a saddle, and I think Chris trailered the horse and brought it home for
Yeah,
us.
it did.
And so here we've got Dynamite. But he was so easy to work with. He'd let me do anything, putting him halter on,
Mhm.
saddling him. He was gentle.
Hmm.
He'd been around a lot of people. even though apparently he had been abused some, but he was just fun and easy to ride and use. We had a lot of fun with him on the farm.
Mhm.
And eventually, just in old age and things, I guess he just ended up passing away.
Hmm.
And we ended up not long after that, from some friends, found another horse.
So you went back for another one.
Yeah, we got
We
another
got two this time.
Yeah,
Oh,
two.
you got
Actually, one
two?
at a time. We got Gus.
Yeah, we got Gus, and then we got
He was a great,
Hmm.
great big quarter horse.
Yeah.
But again, he was really gentle.
Yeah.
Good horse, worked with him. He was one of our favorites.
Hmm.
And we had a lot of fun with him.
Hmm.
Easy to ride.
Yeah.
Easy to take care of. But yeah, we learned that there's a lot of work involved with horses too.
Which is good. That's good
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah,
and
really. And we had a barn. We had a good
Yeah.
stable for them to
Mhm.
stay in. We had everything we needed.
And
at
Chase
the
had a
time.
lot of fun with Gus, and especially Gus. We got another horse. Fanny was her name, so we
Mm.
just left it. Gus was what a thoroughbred
No, he was
quarter
a
horse.
quarter horse.
Quarter horse, and then Fanny was half Arabian and half Tennessee Walker. So she was beautiful and had a really nice gait, but she was
Very
feisty,
spunky.
and we more horse than we could handle.
Yep.
But anyhow, Chase had a lot of fun with his friends, Bubba Conroe and Tyler Davis, and Andy Cook,
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
them. They'd come out and they'd ride horses.
Hmm.
They'd had a lot of fun together
It's fun.
out there.
Well, we need to wrap up, but I have 3
Okay.
questions to
Okay.
ask each of you as we go. 3 that are loaded, but they're all similar. So we can do these one at a time, but I want to kind of hear from you some marriage advice, some parenting advice, and then some grandparenting advice.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And you can start with just give me a couple of short or even
Marriage
just one of
advice?
we'll start with marriage advice. What would you say to young married couples like me who are trying to figure it out?
Talk about things and how many kids do you want? What and religions seems to be real important with things. And with me, religion wasn't all that complicated. From day one, as a young child, I was raised as a Christian, and my bottom line was I'm a great believer in the teachings of Christ. So it didn't really matter so much church. I just believed in the teachings of Christ, and that carries over to so many different religions. And while I was in Korea, I remember a wise old Korean gentleman, when the talk of religion came up, he just said, in comparing religions, how did he put that? Um, Many paths lead to the same summit. And that hit home with me. And so it really didn't really matter.
And did that help your marriage a lot? Is
Well,
what
it
you would
helped
say?
me to
Okay.
think about the importance of religion
But
and
I
the fact
think
that you don't have to be any particular religion. They all try to strive for the right things.
that it's important to have a faith basis.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, you have that little extra is just very important part of keeping you grounded.
Right. Provide
And
some uniformness.
right,
Yeah.
and plus your faith family.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like whatever church you go to, you've got support with the other parishioners. And anyhow, it's a great guidance. I think that if you're thinking about getting married, um, they always talk about opposites attracting. Well, that might be the attraction, but you better have some basic core values that are the same.
Hmm.
You don't want to be too different in that. I think core values is probably
Yeah.
the most important thing because, like I said, I grew up completely different than Chuck did.
Yeah.
But our family values from his parents and from my parents, they're basically the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Rick
that's
Parris and my parents they grew up at the same
Mhm.
time period, so they were
Yeah.
very much alike.
Yep.
My dad was one of 16 kids. My mom just had one brother. I have tons and tons of cousins, and don't even know them all anymore. But
Yeah, how many first cousins do you
oh
have?
God,
But last count, what
68,
was it?
72, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It was-
And I have 4 or 5.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, in any of this, there's no divorce. We have been shown the example that you stick it out.
Yeah.
You're going to have some tough times.
Yeah.
And in a disposable society where you get a brand new car here and you throw this out and fads change and all this, people just throw away their relationships too. And if you just hang in there, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Just
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to even growing older with you.
Yeah.
It,
Well, I'm telling you,
so,
I can't get over how fast time goes by
yeah.
with things.
Yeah.
Chase was really easy to raise. My
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick,
was-
parenting advice and grandparenting advice.
I don't know what advice. Just
Well, parenting advice is don't be too critical. Understand. Remember, you weren't perfect as a child either, and
Yeah.
just don't be too harsh. Just deal with things with love and let them know that they're loved and that you're doing the best that you can, and we know that they're doing the best they can.
Did you ever have to break out the jelly bean tactic like you did?
No, but I tell you, one time I grew up with my mother was really strict with, and she could spank me a lot. I mean, and it was tough,
Yeah.
tough.
according to Lou's brothers and sisters, Lou got spanked quite a bit. She
Yeah.
and her next oldest brother,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they
Well,
were always into
Yeah,
it.
Mike and I, we battled it out for years, and he's probably I'm really close with him now. But anyhow, I had sworn that Chase would never get spanked because I had so much of it, and it wasn't always just with a hand.
Hmm.
And it was just like, I'm not doing that to my child. I'm breaking this cycle. And so one day, Chase had just pushed me. He was like 4 or 5, and he just pushed me. Too many buttons that day. And I hauled off and smacked his butt. and I think I hit him twice with my hand. And he looked at me and just his eyes just got huge. And he just couldn't believe it that I would do that. He goes, "Why did you do this to me?" And all this stuff. And I just took him and I put him in a rocking chair. And I said, "Chase, I'm sorry. I lost it. You really didn't do anything wrong. You were just a kid. I was wrong in hitting you." And I said, "Sometimes parents just lose it." And I said, "When I get that way, I want you to just go get in this rocking chair and sit until I calm down." And
That's good.
yeah,
That's some good little work
yeah,
there.
and it worked.
But
And
that
so
didn't happen very often.
no, it didn't. But every once in a while, I'd just say, "Chase the chair," and he would just go sit in that chair until I was calm enough to deal with him.
Yeah.
And so I would say, you don't have to beat your kids. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
But you do have to set
Yeah,
limits.
and
That's
you do
right.
need to sit down and talk and explain
Yes.
things.
Discipline and
Right.
yeah, because you guys were raised on good discipline, I'm sure, between all the army and the serving
Oh, yeah.
history and
I grew up with 2 wonderful parents.
yeah.
Aunts, uncles, grandparents. I had the best grandparents.
Yeah.
If you look up the word grandfather,
hmm
that's my grandfather's picture in the dictionary.
Are you for real?
No.
He was a classic grandfather, wasn't he?
Oh,
I mean,
he
I
was
would
great.
believe you.
Yeah.
I'm named after him.
Yeah.
I took his name,
Yeah.
Charles.
And that's where we got Chase, too.
Yeah.
Charles.
Yeah.
And Chase was a Charles, but we needed another nickname, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
His first
Not Bobo. Go for
Early.
that one.
early years, we were chasing him all over the place. So the name
Ah,
just,
Yeah.
there you go. Yep. That's
he
funny.
was very active.
Okay.
Yeah.
Advice to your grandparent friends. What's the best way to do it?
Oh, just love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You
be
can't help
there,
but spoil
be
'em.
present. It
Mhm.
was just like, I don't know. I get the biggest kick out of Graham. He's just so sweet. But don't go against his parents' wishes. Don't say, "Well, your mother did this or your dad did this,
Mm.
or but you're with grandma and grandpa now, so you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
Stick with what their rules are,
Mm.
and
Even if you don't agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
and don't be critical because everybody's doing the best they can.
Just trying to figure it out.
And I just love Graham so much. He still gives us hugs and kisses at
Yeah.
11, and he loves coming out to the farm. And he gave me a hug one day, and he just said, "Oh, you're just my favorite." He said,
Hmm.
"We just bonded." I love
Yeah,
that.
they come out and visit quite a bit,
Hmm.
a lot,
Good.
really. And I remember not too long ago, he got out of the car at our place, came running into the house, goes running into the living room, plops himself down and says, "This is my favorite place
Mm.
right
In the
here."
whole world, right?
So, yeah, we knew
Yeah.
living out in the country is great.
Yeah.
But we
We're lucky.
we do some things to kind of spoil him a little bit, but we spoil him sweet, not rotten.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's all sweet to hear, and that's a good place to land it. Is that I haven't spent a lot of time with you two together. Obviously, I know you from Rotary
Mhm.
and spending some time with you, but I definitely feel like anytime I talk to you, and definitely today, that you're just present with me, and sounds like your kid and your grandkid can feel that too. So thanks for being present with me today.
Yeah.
This was really enjoyable. First podcast, I assume, for you guys, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What's a podcast?
Exactly. It's just a
Yeah.
radio show that you got to be less careful on because you can edit
Yeah.
it. So, but I appreciate you guys being on. Anything else you guys want to add or anything like that?
I can't think of anything.
Give your sister a hug for us.
I will. Yes. Well, that's what I was going to say too, is everything Jordan's ever told me is just, you guys are sweet to hang out with. And it's fun hearing stuff like that with your grandkid too, because that's exactly how I felt about my grandparents. Is they were always the same person, they were always present, and I never needed to be anybody but grandkid.
Right.
Up until last, this past couple months when she passed, I was like, I could just be grandkid Landon until I was 31. So
Yeah.
it was great. So
That is neat.
yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys. Have you been offered teaching jobs still yet after retiring? Because I'm sure.
A lot of times I miss teaching. a
Yeah.
lot, but I had a lot of fun too. I taught here for 33 years in Fayette. And then unexpectedly, the week after I retired, I was talked into taking a job at Central in the theater department.
That's right.
Working with a really great guy, Dr. Kelty.
Yeah.
in
Is
the
he
theater
still there?
department. Oh, yeah.
I thought he
Oh,
was. Yeah.
I still go hang out there.
Yeah.
As a matter of
Son.
fact, we've got to go to the play tonight.
And
All right.
so
We
I
got
was
to
the
land it.
scene
But
shop
do you
foreman
remember
for
when
10
I
years.
were you around then when we did Seussical when I was Horton? Because the Rolfings put on that production.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Down in the
Mm.
basement where the assembly hall is
yeah,
now.
sure.
Yeah. And the old one, the old stinky one.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've done
Yeah.
a lot of theater down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
spent a lot of time down there.
Yep. I think Terry and Chris helped produce that. That was one of my best childhood memories. So anyway, I could talk to you guys forever. I feel like we can have another one, maybe even individually, because I would love to hear about all your time serving and all those kind of things too. So, but this has been wonderful. Thank you, Chuck and Lou, and appreciate you being with me.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We're falling in love.